In the not-so-distant future, the Earth is as of now not a positive spot to live, due to poisons made by human development. Humankind has never been more separated by their financial status. The rich have constructed themselves a space station called Elysium, where life is amazing without illness nor passing. They're basically divine beings. They disconnect themselves from Earth, involving it as just a method for creation, and individuals living here are just their slaves. Max leaves his criminal past behind and attempts to work in a respectable worker, yet at the same time gets hassled by the robot police because of his lawbreaker record. They break his arm for being rebellious, which sends him to the medical clinic. Shockingly, Max sees his life as a childhood friend, Frey, who he vowed to bring to Elysium with him one day. She works in the emergency clinic as a medical caretaker now. Furthermore, Max doesn't squander a subsequent inquiring her out. She's hesitant about it, yet doesn't maintain that Max should break his other arm just so he can see her once more. Max nearly lost his employment with his physical issue, where he produces mechanical parts for a weapons organization ran by their president John, a resident of Elysium. The main way to go to Elysium is illegal by paying your life saving to a man named Spider, who runs an underground association that sends shadows to the space station. Be that as it may, the excursion is incredibly hazardous, as Elysium would successfully keep the individuals out. Defense Secretary Delacourt orders a rocket strike from her sleeper agent Kruger, which he fires on Earth, annihilating 2 of the vehicle shadows. While missing the last one, the transport figures out how to land. What's more, individuals run towards the nearest drug inlet, utilizing their fake tattoos to heal their infection. The achievement rate is very low, as just a single mother had the option to recuperate her little girl from her crippledness. One day, while Max is working in his processing plant, a glitch happens to the entryways, which defers his whole line. The foreman undermines him to go in at the possibility of losing his employment. Max decides to obey, however the entryway closes, locking him inside regardless of the workers attempting to save him. It was past the point of no return. What's more, he took a full portion of radiation from the machines. A robot hauls him out and tells him to sign a waiver, which gives him some medication that will keep him working until his passing 5 days from now. He ignores for the laborer, at the point when the CEO appears to think often more about the best sheets being cleaned than about his laborer being alive. Max returns home, where his dearest companion Julio sees that something is off base. Max lets him know that he needs to go to Elysium, where they have the technology important to fix him. The main individual that can make this happen is Spider. However, even with every one of his companions' cash, it won't be enough for a ticket. Max goes to Spider requesting a ticket, and it, furthermore, vows to repay him anyway, much the sum as Spider chuckles at him, and says that he gets many individuals asking exactly the same thing consistently. Maxius threatens to use a blade to compromise him. Spider understands that Max is dying and extends to him an employment opportunity, since his men are not generally sufficiently insane. To proceed with it, they intend to seize the natural data from a resident of Elysium, who visits Earth, and utilize this to obtain cash from their financial balances. Max consents to the arrangement, however requests that they follow John, the president, who thinks often so minimal about his laborers' lives. Spider sees that Maxie is feeble from the ailment and takes out an exosuit, which expects a medical procedure to put on. Max has barely a choice yet to go under the blade, as he will pass on at any rate, if really he doesn't. Secretary Delacourt is being looked into by the leader of Elysium for killing 46 people and utilizing a sleeper specialist from Earth. Delacourt doesn't figure what she did was off base, as she contends that she was safeguarding her youngsters. Furthermore, what they worked for their relatives. The president gives her a last admonition. What's more, further activity of comparable nature will bring about her expulsion from office. She sees an open door when she meets with John in the conversation of re-establishing their weapons contract. Delacourt takes steps to eliminate any further contracts from their organization, except if John can organize a coup for her. She wants him to compose a PC code that reboots the system. What's more, restores her as the new president, since she trusts that the current administration places their progress in risk. John acknowledges his proposal, forgetting the fate of his organization. Furthermore, composes the reboot succession, putting a deadly safeguard on the off chance that it was taken. Max and his group hangs tight for John to leave his office and puts a bomb on his vehicle. They explode the bomb on their arranged area and pursues the falling plane. Delacourt sees what happened to John and sends Kruger after him. Max and his group shows up at the R. However, we're not anticipating that a robot should assault them. The robot shoots a blast of explosives at the group, making them take cover behind their vehicles. Max make a successful counter-fire as the robot reloads, blowing it to pieces. They tear open John's vehicle, and just before they can recover him, another robot leaves and starts terminating at the group. John is fired and the trading of firearm terminated, while Max handles the robot and continues to battle it in close battle. He figures out how to get an advantage and tears its head off. They notice that John is dying and attempts to recover the data onto Max. They complete the exchange, however can't to peruse the information because of the safeguard that was set up. Before they can take off, Kruger shows up also, shooting bombs at them. What's more, killing their partners in a twisted way. Kruger pursues Max actually and wounds him severely by cutting him in the stomach. Julio attempts to save Max, yet winding up dead. Max must choose the option to run from Kruger while the agent sends drones everywhere the city searching for him. Attempting to forestall the codes from spilling out, Delacourt orders a full regulation of the region, sticking different signals so that no planes can leave. Kruger's group likewise got hints of the code and acknowledges what its capability is, spurring him to recover it. Even all the more, however, reasonable for his own advantages. Max comes to the Beyond the clinic where Frey works, bleeding out. What's more, calls out to her. She attempts to carry him to the clinic, yet Max declines as he'll be captured immediately. She takes him back to her home and figures out how to save him from the edge of demise. Max sees a young girl in Frey's home. What's more, understands that she's a mother. Frey believes that Maxie should carry her little girl to Elysium. As she's withering from leukemia, he wavers when he sees the benevolence of the girl. At the end of the day, declines as he puts saving his own life as need to everything else. Kruger's robots get the developments from Max and shows up just to find Frey, and that's what her little girl. Understanding they assisted Max with recuperating, he takes them prisoner for good measure. Max gets back to Spider with the code to find that they have no chance of going to Elysium due to Delacourt sticking the airspace. Spider glances through the code and understands that it is the way to resetting Elysium, possibly saving all of humankind. If they make everybody a resident, Spider attempts to persuade Max to utilize this code to save mankind. In any case, he cares hardly at all about this as he'll bite the dust, understanding that his data is incredibly important and that Kruger needs him alive. Max hands himself over to the hired fighters so he might go to Elysium. Max holds a projectile and undermines Kruger with self-destruction as he requests to go to Elysium and utilize the drug base immediately. As he enters their boat, he understands that Frey and her little girl are caught as well, all due to him. They advise Delacourt that they have the code also. She lifts the sign jam permitting them to leave Earth. This likewise offers Spider a chance for flight, as he readies his men to go to Elysium, wanting to utilize the code to save humankind before they can land their boat. Kruger attempts with his men to control Max. However, their endeavors bomb, blowing Kruger's face separated and crash, arriving on the ground. The hired soldier figures out how to capture Max and his friends, while Kruger's men takes their CEO's body to the med bay, recreating his face with an end goal to restore him. The scientist attaches Max to the clinic bed and plans to extricate the code from him, in Delacourt's order. Through their discussion, Max understands that to remove the code, the safeguard would kill the first have. This implies that he won't be capable to save himself, as he would die at Elysium. That can make him a resident before they can start the extraction. Max figures out how to break free. He examines the scientists for state whereabouts and hurries to save them before they are discarded. Discontent with Kruger's crash landing, which seriously endangers residents, Delacourt shows up to the recently reproduced man and proceeds to express her negate and frustration in a snapshot of fury. Kruger wounds Delacourt in the neck, lethally injuring her as he tosses her in with Frey and her girl. Kruger plans to involve the code for himself and orders his men to obliterate every one of the politicians in the structure. While he searches for Max, while Max is looking for Frey, Max sees that Spider has shown up on the surveillance camera. Attempts to reach him with the speakers. He advises Spider to utilize the data in his cerebrum to change everybody into a resident of Elysium, as he takes off to rescue Frey and her little girl. Not long before, Kruger's men are going to do the unspeakable to Frey while undermining her little girl. Max finds them and prevents the men from their atrocities. They generally get together with Spider, and Max advises Spider to go with him to reset Elysium, while Frey goes to the closest frantic sound to sit tight for the reset, so she can fix her girl after the two gatherings head out in a different direction. Kruger finds Max and continues to go after him out of retribution. Spider attempts to help in the battle, however without the exosuit he gets taken out effectively by Kruger, who nails his hand to the floor. Max attempts to guard himself, yet Kruger's suit is further developed. All around he battles, while Kruger tosses him against the wall and throwing him away. Be that as it may, for reasons unknown, the troublemakers generally really like to discuss of finishing off their rivals, which allows Max an opportunity to take hold of Kruger's neutral chip, furthermore, tears it out, incapacitating him. Kruger attempts to kill the two of them together by utilizing a projectile and locking onto Max's suit, yet Max breaks free and tosses Kruger down the scaffold while he detonates into pieces. He heads to the centralized server with Spider, furthermore, prepares to extricate the code. Spider lets Max know that there will be no return for him, which Max says that he definitely knew in his final gasp. He lets Frey know that he has kept the guarantee he made when they were kids. Also, he at long last sees exactly how lovely Earth, as a matter of fact, is. Max executes the codes, killing himself while closing down the whole system. Elysium reboots and sets everybody as a resident, remembering individuals for Earth. Frey utilizes the med bay to recuperate her little girl, while the PC sends various robots to Earth, freeing everybody from their sufferings. The end. If you like this story, please subscribe to the channel and like it to motivate me to bring you more stories like this.